Single mom's heartwarming mistake discovered her Uber driver was her incredible new CEO. The night air was heavy as Sarah stepped out of the diner, exhaustion clinging to her like a second skin. She had just clocked in another grueling shift, her feet aching from standing, her mind racing with worries. As a single mom working 3 part-time jobs to make ends meet for her 2 children, life felt like an endless uphill battle. With a deep breath, she called an Uber, hoping for just a few moments of quiet in transit to her small apartment. When she slid into the back seat, her eyes were heavy with fatigue, but they brightened as she was greeted by Alex, a man whose warm smile instantly radiated a sense of ease. "Hey there. Long day?" he asked, his voice smooth like honey. Sarah nodded weakly, surprised by the genuine concern in his tone. They began to wade through her hectic day, and with each passing block, she felt her burdens lighten, if only a little. "I just want a better life for my kids," she confessed, the weight of her dreams spilling out. In that moment, she wasn't just a waitress struggling to pay the bills, she was a mother with aspirations that soared higher than the Los Angeles skyline. Alex listened intently as she spoke, sharing bits and pieces of her life, a patchwork of late-night study sessions, balancing playdates, and finding moments to just breathe. Each word energized Alex, igniting memories from his own past, the challenges he faced to become who he was today. She didn't know yet that he was the newly minted CEO of a tech startup looking to move into her community. The connection deepened, even as Sarah felt a flicker of fear inside her. What if her financial troubles barred her from rising above her circumstances? But the universe is cruel sometimes. Just as Sarah was getting comfortable with her newfound connection, she got a call from her son's school about an emergency. Panic struck, and she had to jump out of the car before she even realized she was running late to an interview for a job that could change everything for her. As Alex drove away into the night, the hope she had briefly held began to scatter like leaves in the wind. The worry of failing her family gripped her tight as the loss of that opportunity sank in. Gripping her phone, she glanced at her reflection, seeing not just a tired woman, but a mother willing to fight for her children. Meanwhile, Alex, now aware of her circumstances, felt a deep respect for her resilience despite the world that surrounded him. But even as they discovered their mutual understanding, the divide between them began to loom. Alex's corporate world pulsed with privilege, and Sarah felt the deep sting of her struggles. They were worlds apart, and she couldn't shake the notion that her worth was measured only by her struggles. Amidst the chatter of upscale dinners and tech buzzwords, Alex found himself at odds with his colleagues who dismissed people like Sarah as just waitresses. In a moment of conflict, he bravely challenged them, stating, "Success is not just about numbers, it's about courage." His conviction sparked a ripple of tension, but he stood firmly against their narrow views. Gathering strength from his words, Sarah had begun to redefine her view of herself, only to be shocked when she received a call that gave her a second chance at the job she thought slipped away. But could love cross a bridge built with their societal differences? As they both teetered on the brink of a possible connection, hope flickered between them. Would courage and resilience be enough? The questions hung in the air like a dangling promise, leaving them both wondering about their intertwined futures. Sarah's heart raced as she stared at the screen of her phone. The opportunity she thought had vanished into the ether was persevering back into her life. An interview tomorrow. This could be the lifeline she desperately needed. A chance to provide a stable foundation for her children instead of just a roof over their heads. Her breath caught as she contemplated the enormity of it all. For once, things might be starting to shift. Silence filled her small apartment later that night, her 2 kids asleep in their rooms. She poured herself a cup of coffee, letting the aroma ground her. Sitting at the cluttered kitchen table, her mind was a storm of thoughts. Visions of Alex played like a movie reel, a kind smile, genuine interest, and that undeniable camaraderie they'd built in the Uber. But did people like him truly understand struggles like hers? She shook her head, trying to dispel the nagging doubts. The next morning came too quickly. Sarah slipped into a faded blouse and her best pair of jeans, glancing at her reflection in the hallway mirror. She looked tired but determined. That feeling surged inside her again, filling her with courage. As she hurriedly prepared breakfast, her phone buzzed with a text from the school. It was a reminder about a PTA meeting that she had almost forgotten. Perfect, she thought sarcastically, because nothing says time management like 2 major commitments in one day. When she finally arrived at the office for her interview, her nerves tingled with electricity. The building loomed high above her. Within its glass walls were people she barely recognized, all moving with the confidence of purpose. She felt the weight of every statement she'd read about the corporate world, all the perceptions of who she was or wasn't. With a deep breath, she pushed through the doors of the hiring office. A receptionist greeted her, and soon she was ushered into a conference room filled with bright lights and an intimidating energy. She had done her homework, she reminded herself. She had prepared a presentation on her ideas for community-focused initiatives that perhaps would align with Alex's vision. Just as she began to settle into her groove and share her thoughts, in walked Alex. His face lit up, transforming from CEO to someone who looked at her like they were old friends. "Sarah. You're here." The surprise and warmth in his voice washed over the room. Yeah." Sarah felt flustered at the fact that he was seeing her like this, an applicant, no longer the woman he had spoken to during that deep conversation in his Uber. His presence made her heartbeat quicken, and she fought to keep her composure amidst the group of stiffly dressed interviewers. The interview proceeded, but there was a spark in the room. Alex's presence transformed the energy. He posed questions that brought out the passionate advocate in Sarah about family, community, and the importance of understanding people's struggles. She spoke about her children and the dreams that fueled her ambition. After the presentation, Sarah felt a rush of emotions. It was thrilling yet terrifying to think Alex was on the other side of her future. Nothing divided them if they both sought to uplift the community. As everyone trickled out, she lingered, searching for Alex's eyes. They exchanged a knowing glance that held both questions and answers, potential and doubt. But it was the unexpected twist that followed after the meeting that threw her into a whirlwind. Alex approached Sarah, a mix of resolution and concern on his face. "Can we talk?" As they stepped outside into the courtyard, sunlight tinged with the warmth of possibility filled the space around them. Here was Alex, the man she had shared her story with, the man who now held the key to her hopes. With an earnest expression, he leaned slightly closer, his voice laced with urgency. "I want to help you, Sarah, but it may come with complications." Her heart skipped. What complications was he referring to? Did he mean their very differences, or something deeper? The air buzzed with unanswered questions, and the weight of their choices pressed heavily upon her. Could they forge a path forward, or would fate scatter their fragile connection? The tension hung between them like the thick summer air, thick with promise and uncertainty. The next steps could change everything if only she had the courage to take them. What would she risk for herself and her family? Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she stared into Alex's eyes. The light flickered like the thoughts racing through her mind. Here was a man who had offered her a lifeline, yet she felt as if they were standing on the edge of an uncharted cliff. She could almost hear the silence bursting with potential, and whispers of what could be if only she dared to leap. "Complications?" she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. He hesitated, his brow furrowing. "It's about the company, and how it operates. Things aren't as straightforward as they seem." Nerves twisted in her stomach. Did he mean the corporate hierarchy? The potential backlash from his colleagues? She needed to tread carefully here. I want a chance. A real one to help my kids and others," she confessed, trying to anchor herself in the clarity of her purpose. "I know. And your vision is strong." He stepped back slightly, making space between them, as though weighing her thoughts against his own. "But my world comes with expectations. Having someone from outside, it could complicate things." The sun illuminated his face, but the shadows danced in his eyes. "I won't let that stop me from supporting you. But it may affect us both." "Both." The word hung like a cloud, heavy with unspoken meaning. She had already imagined the worst, loose tongues and thinly veiled gossip. If he was willing to put himself on the line for her, how would that impact his standing? Would they ever be able to find their footing again? The courtyard seemed to shrink around them, closing in on Sarah as her thoughts spiraled. What if this was too much? What if she said yes, only to drown under the weight of it all? But then again, how could she turn her back on an opportunity like this? Let us take it step by step, she proposed, throwing caution to the wind. I can start small. Propose ideas and see where they lead. If it feels right, we can navigate any surprises together. A flicker of hope ignited in his expression, the tension in his shoulders easing. I'd like that. They lingered for a moment, lost in shared determination, yet clouds of uncertainty loomed close. But pressing questions lingered in the air, brushing against the walls of possibility. What did it look like to forge a path together in a world fraught with challenges? The unexpected sound of laughter caught their attention. A group of interns strolled in, carefree and oblivious to the tension. They parted like waves, filling the space with youthful energy and laughter. Just then, Sarah's phone vibrated in her pocket, jolting her back to reality. A reminder about the PTA meeting was waiting, a gravitational pull back to her responsibilities. She began, glancing down at her phone, her heart hesitating. Alex nodded. Family comes first. But just know, I'm in your corner, and I want to do this. His voice carried a warmth that made her feel grounded amidst the chaos. Thank you, she said, gathering her thoughts. The weight of the next steps threatened to crush her, yet a flicker of something beautiful emerged. As they exchanged numbers and a quick smile, she felt a new seed of hope take root. But small towns and big dreams were never without challenges. What distractions would her children bring to this new chapter? A thought tugged at her heartstrings. How would Alex find his place not only in her professional life, but maybe just maybe something personal as well? With every fleeting glance back at Alex, where promise sparkled amidst uncertainty, she walked away feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. As she rounded the corner of the building, the realization hit her, she had just begun a journey neither of them had expected. A chance for something monumental. But at what personal cost? In the days to come, how would they both navigate the complexities of their intertwining worlds? Would they find solace, or would the stakes become too high? Unfolding each situation brought its own rhythm, but she felt only one question pulse at the forefront of her mind: what were they truly ready to risk for this chance at connection? The PTA meeting loomed large in Sarah's mind as she drove through the familiar streets of her small town. Her kids' laughter echoed in her ears, a sweet reminder of what she was fighting for. Yet, with every passing block, the weight of her conversation with Alex settled heavily on her shoulders. This wasn't just about her, it was about them, about everything they might build together. Pulling into the school's parking lot, Sarah took a moment to breathe. She could see parents milling about, chatting, sharing stories and concerns. The meetings were often mundane, an endless loop of discussions about budgets, fundraising, and policies. But today, she felt a purpose rooted deeper than any agenda item. Today, she would speak with clarity and conviction, advocating not only for her children but for the vision that had ignited her days. Mom! Over here! A voice pierced her thoughts. Her youngest, Lily, waved frantically, clutching a handmade poster decorated with crayon drawings. The sight pulled Sarah's heart into her throat. Oh, sweet girl! That is beautiful! Sarah exclaimed, kneeling to embrace her daughter. I made it for our school-wide kindness project. We're gonna hang it next to the cafeteria, Lily beamed. That small moment mattered more than she realized, reminding her of the impact she could have if she opened the key to her dreams. But a nagging voice whispered doubts in her head: would she take on too much? Could she even juggle home and ambition, especially with the uncertainty surrounding Alex's world? As the meeting began, Sarah found herself swept up in discussions. The principal's voice buzzed in the background while her thoughts wandered back to Alex. What would he think of her contributions? She could imagine his eyes lighting up with admiration, urging her to take those small steps she had proposed. The thought sent a thrill through her. When it was finally her turn to speak, uncertainty clawed at her. She cleared her throat. "I believe we can make a real difference by." Her voice faltered for just a moment, but she steadied herself, relying on the belief blooming within. "By fostering creativity and kindness in our children. And I have some ideas on how we can implement that." The room fell silent, all eyes on her. With every word she spoke, the confidence grew louder, drowning out her fears. As she shared her vision, she noticed approving nods, smiles even. This was what she wanted: connection, belonging. At the meeting's end, a couple of parents approached her, offering support and enthusiasm. "I love those ideas, Sarah. We should definitely do this." Encouragement renewed her spirit. As she stepped outside, she caught a glimpse of Alex across the street. He stood with a couple of colleagues, discussing something animatedly, the sunlight catching his features just right. For a moment, their gazes locked, and it felt as if the world around them faded. A soft voice interrupted her reverie. "Hey, Miss Sarah." It was Nate, one of the older students who volunteered at the school. "You did great back there. You're like, involved and stuff." His words hung in the air like a warm embrace. She laughed. "Thanks, Nate. I'm trying to make a difference." As she turned to walk back to her car, a flutter of possibility ignited within her. She could see a future taking shape, mirroring the path she wanted to forge with Alex. But as she drove home, excitement mingled with dread. What would happen tomorrow? Would the attention from her ideas set off ripples in Alex's world, bringing those complications he mentioned? Did she truly have the capacity to bring change? And what if her children stumbled into something unexpected? How would they react to Alex? The mere thought sent a shiver down her spine. Sarah's heart raced, a symphony of hope and fear. Tomorrow was another day, another chance, but with that came the looming unknowns. Would their worlds harmonize, or would the discord send them spiraling into chaos? What questions would arise when they crossed into the territory of their burgeoning connection? One thing was for sure: this journey was only just beginning, and she was unprepared for how it would all unfold. The next morning, Sarah woke with the sun streaming through her sheer curtains, painting golden stripes across her room. She felt a delicate mixture of nerves and excitement fluttering in her stomach, like 1,000 tiny butterflies dancing within her. Today was a chance for new beginnings, but it also brought the weight of uncertainty. As she moved through the morning routine, the usual cadence of life filled her home. The kids bickered over cereal choices, a familiar comedy of sibling rivalry that made her smile. But one look at the clock made her pulse quicken. She was running late. "Come on, guys. We need to get moving," she called out with an energy she didn't completely feel. They rushed to gather their belongings, and she felt a rush of gratitude as they rallied together. Their laughter echoed across the kitchen, gifting her a moment of calm amid the chaos. Once she dropped the kids off at school, she felt the weight of the world settle back on her shoulders. Staring at her to-do list, she wondered how she would juggle it all: the PTA initiatives, work, and her budding relationship with Alex. With a deep breath, she slid into her car. Then came an unexpected thought: she could allow herself to lean on the strength of this community. She dialed Alex's number, her heart racing as it rang. Would he be supportive? Was it too soon? "Hey, it's me," Sarah said, trying to sound casual. "Hey. How did the meeting go?" Alex's voice filled her ears with warmth. "It went well. People were really receptive to the ideas." As she spoke, she felt a sense of ease. If he could see her as a partner, it made the weight she carried seem more like a shared burden. "Of course they did. You have a great vision. I believe in you," he responded. His enthusiasm was contagious. As she parked outside her office, butterflies were replaced by a surge of confidence. Maybe this was at the beginning of something beautiful. But on entering, she was met with a tense atmosphere. Everyone whispered, cast glances over their shoulders. Something was off. "Sarah. You have to see this," her coworker, Mike, said, rushing over. There's news about the new project details. He hesitated, a mixture of excitement and apprehension flickering across his face. Feeling that flutter of dread, she leaned in closer as he explained. "It's big. And it involves all of us. Well, the place where we source our funding. It's connected to the new CEO." As he spoke, her mind raced with memories of Alex's past conversations, the stories of his remarkable journey, glowing with ambition. "Do you mean the new CEO is someone we know?" she asked, her heart pounding. Mike nodded, eyes widening. "It's Alex. He just got promoted. He's our boss now." Sarah's world tilted sideways. She steadied herself against the conference room doorway, the twist of fate feeling surreal. Would this make everything more complicated? How would her colleagues see her now? But there was also a flicker of excitement amid the confusion. They had a connection, a shared passion. Taking a deep breath, she tried to sort through her thoughts. Did this change everything? How they operated, how they would relate? As the team gathered in the meeting room to discuss the implications, Sarah felt a surge of anticipation. Could she continue to chase her dreams while navigating this unexpected twist? The air buzzed with chatter, and her heart raced. But a small voice in her head reminded her she was stronger, braver than she'd ever given herself credit for. With Alex at the helm, would this new chapter be a remarkable partnership or a potential pitfall? As Sarah entered the room, the stakes felt higher than ever. She had to find a way to maintain her vision and passion without losing herself. One idea was crystal clear: she had to talk to Alex. And just as she locked her gaze on his across the room, every ounce of uncertainty flooded back. Was this truth going to pull them together, or was it going to tear them apart? Tomorrow was going to be another day of reckoning, a day of choices where love, ambition, and dreams would collide. But right now, her heart pounded with questions. How would she navigate this uncharted territory? What would she reveal about her feelings, her aspirations? Would they emerge intact, or would everything crash down around them? As Sarah faced the meeting room full of eager faces, a knot formed in her stomach. The murmurs quieted, and she could feel the tension shift as eyes landed on her. She was no longer just Sarah, the team member. They now looked at her as part of a new dynamic, one where Alex was in charge. Her heart raced as Alex walked in, exuding confidence. He offered her a small smile, but uncertainty loomed between them like an invisible wall. She could read the questions in his eyes. He was wondering how she'd react to the news, wondering how everything between them would change. "All right, everyone," Alex began, standing at the head of the table. "We've got some exciting new directions to discuss, but first, let me introduce myself properly as the new CEO of our company." He paused, looking around. "You all know me, but we're about to embark on something special together. I want to hear your ideas and thoughts about how we can take this company to the next level." His words were like a lifeline. They sparked her resolve back to life. This wasn't just about her and Alex anymore, it was bigger than them. They had a team to inspire. She thought back to the conversation they had last night, the support he had offered. This could be their opportunity to build something strong together. "Sarah?" Alex prompted, pulling her from her thoughts. His voice was warm yet firm, urging her to speak. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I think we need to focus on collaboration to harness all our talents. With Alex's leadership, I believe we can." Her voice grew more confident as ideas poured out, and the warmth of the room began to return. Though every glance from her colleagues held an ounce of curiosity about her personal relationship with Alex, she pushed through. She focused on their goals, their ambition, and the vision they could create. There was magic in partnership, after all. As the meeting progressed, laughter and back-and-forth banter filled the room, despite the undercurrent of tension and excitement. The team was engaged, ideas bouncing back and forth like a basketball in play. Sarah caught glimpses of Alex watching her, pride evident in his smile when she shared an idea that resonated. But then, a voice interrupted her thoughts. Rebecca, the sharp-minded accountant, chimed in, "And what about the integrated approach for our budget, especially with our new leadership?" Laughter mixed with a bit of nervous tension as everyone glanced between Sarah and Alex. "Are you two going to be consulting late nights over red wine now?" Someone joked, lightening the mood. A wave of heat rushed to Sarah's cheeks. The comment hung in the air, echoing all the fears and hopes she had about their new reality. This wasn't just office banter, it was a reminder of the thin line now straddled between work and personal relationships. Right, well, she couldn't find the right words. Did everyone expect them to act differently now? She was unsure how Alex would navigate this delicate dance of leadership and partnership. After the meeting, he approached her, his eyes searching hers. "Hey, are you all right?" "I think so," she replied, a twinge of uncertainty creeping back in. "It's just everything changed so fast." His expression softened. "I know. But together, we can handle it. Let us meet later to talk through everything." Her heart fluttered at the idea. This partnership had the potential to become something incredible, but how would they tackle the complexities of their personal lives in the professional realm? As Sarah left the office, her mind buzzed with both anxiety and hope. The future was suddenly more complicated yet filled with possibility. She clutched her bag tightly, determined to maintain her footing while forging ahead. Later that evening, she found herself staring at her phone, waiting for Alex's call. Would they be able to balance this newfound connection with the challenges ahead? As she picked up her phone, her heart pounded with desire and worry. This was just the beginning. How deep did their bond truly go, and would it withstand the tests that lay ahead? The evening air felt thick with unsaid words as Sarah paced her living room, the buzzing of her phone finally breaking the silence. When she saw Alex's name flash across the screen, her heart raced. She answered quickly, needing to hear his voice. "Hey, you," Alex said, a spark of warmth in his tone. "I just finished up some stuff at the office. Can we talk now?" "Of course," she replied, her nervousness fading with every second. "I've been thinking a lot about everything." "Good," he said, sounding relieved. "I've been thinking too. About how we can make this work. Not just the business, but us." Her breath caught in her throat. Did he mean their relationship? Or was he talking about teamwork? Both thoughts raced through her mind, colliding in a whirlwind. So, how do we even start? It feels like there's so much that could go wrong. There will be challenges, he acknowledged. We'll have to set boundaries, but I truly believe we can navigate this together. We just need to communicate, be open about our expectations. "Alex," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "What does that mean for us during the day at work? It's not easy to separate professional from personal." "I know," he replied, genuine understanding in his voice. "Let us try to keep the work environment focused on the team. When we're out of the office, we can just focus on being ourselves. I want us to feel undisturbed." It sounded so simple. But in practice, could they really pull it off? Could they manage to shield what they were slowly building from prying eyes at the office? Honestly, she admitted, her vulnerability surfacing. "I'm scared. Scared that everyone's watching us, waiting for something to happen. And that if anything goes wrong, it'll be awkward." "Yeah, I get that," Alex said softly. "But remember, we're not doing this for them. We're doing this for us. If we put our hearts into it, we'll find a way." She let his words sink in. Perhaps he was right. Their connection felt real and vibrant, but looming questions about their dynamic made her stomach churn. What if we end up ruining our working relationship? "That's a chance we have to take," he replied, determination lacing his words. "I'm not rushing into anything, Sarah. I'm in this for the long haul, ready to do what it takes. Just think about it. Maybe we can keep things light at work, and when the time feels right, we can gradually bring everyone into it. A flicker of hope lit inside her, mixing with her hesitation. That could work, I guess. But it'll take a lot of patience. Patience and teamwork, he encouraged, his voice steady. You're stronger than you think. We both are. Let us not overthink it. I just want to enjoy this time we have together without complications. Okay, she replied weakly, but already she felt more prepared for this daring leap. I think I can do that. Good. Let us meet tomorrow and discuss how we can showcase our team's ideas. Lift each other up, but still keep a sense of us. As they spoke, a sense of excitement blossomed. The weight of anxiety began to dissipate. With each word, it felt a little less impossible to navigate the path between their professional lives and personal feelings. After they hung up, Sarah couldn't help but smile. She put her phone down, wondering what tomorrow would bring. Would their team thrive with Alex leading? Would they confront any awkward moments with grace? Suddenly, her doorbell rang. Startled, she glanced at the clock. It was late. Who could that be? With a mix of curiosity and apprehension, she walked to the door and opened it, only to find a familiar face looking back at her. Rebecca, holding something small and wrapped in bright paper. Hey! Can we talk? Rebecca asked, her expression unreadable. Sarah's heart raced again as she caught glimpses of Alex's earlier words in her mind. The night was about to take a turn she never expected. What came next could change everything. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she took in Rebecca's tense expression. It was never a good sign when someone appeared at your door unexpectedly, and tonight felt especially charged with uncertainty. Sure, come in. Sarah stepped aside, trying to mask her growing unease. Rebecca entered, her posture tight, and placed the gift carefully on the coffee table. What is going on? Sarah asked, gesturing toward the wrapped present. Is that for me? Rebecca hesitated, her gaze flickering to the glossy wrapping paper before locking onto Sarah's eyes. It's a little something. But it's not just about that. We need to talk. Sarah picked up the package, feeling the weight of it in her hands, a mix of curiosity and dread swirling within her. What is going on? Rebecca took a deep breath. I saw you and Alex at the cafe. I didn't want to say anything, but it was hard not to notice. The air suddenly felt heavy, as if they were carrying an unspoken truth that could shatter the evening's tranquility. You saw us? Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. Yeah. I overheard part of your conversation. Rebecca lowered her voice, inching closer. I get the vibe that you two are more than just colleagues. I mean, is that what is happening? Sarah's mind raced. She didn't want to discuss this, not yet. Not with anyone, especially not Rebecca, who had always been so protective. It's complicated. I know, but you need to make sure this is what you want. Working together and being together. It can get messy, Rebecca warned. And I don't want to see you get hurt. A wave of frustration washed over Sarah. You don't even know the whole story. True, Rebecca replied, her tone softening. But I can see how much he cares for you. I can feel it. Sarah placed the gift back on the table, feeling the weight of it in more ways than one. It's exciting. And for the first time in a while, I feel like I'm finally moving forward. Rebecca watched her closely. Is that enough? Or are you just chasing a dream? I've seen you struggle before. No, it's different this time, Sarah exclaimed, the passion in her voice making her feel vulnerable. I feel seen, appreciated. Like I'm not just a single mom trying to hold everything together. Alex sees me for who I am. Rebecca didn't respond right away, fiddling with her hands nervously. Okay, but what if things go south? What happens at work then? We've talked about boundaries, Sarah insisted, trying to convince both herself and Rebecca. We can make it work. Rebecca nodded, though her concern lingered in her eyes. Just promise me you'll think it through. Dive in but keep your head above water. I don't want this to jeopardize everything you've built. Sarah took a step forward, closing the distance. I appreciate you looking out for me. Really. But I need to figure this out on my own. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Rebecca sighed, the tension easing just a little. Okay, but don't forget I'm here for you. If things get tough, I'm just a call away. The door creaked on its hinges, and the moment paused, the air still thick with uncertainty and uncharted possibilities. As Rebecca turned to leave, she paused again, glancing back. Oh, you should probably open that gift when you get a moment. It's a little piece of encouragement. Once alone, Sarah picked up the present again, hesitating for a second as the reality of her life swirled around her. She unwrapped it slowly, revealing a delicate necklace with a charm shaped like a heart. It felt like a silent promise of support and love. Staring at it, she wondered about the decisions ahead. Would she lean into the beautiful unknown with Alex? Or would she retreat back to the safety of what she had always known? Outside, the moonlight spilled across her yard, illuminating her path forward. Just then, her phone buzzed with a message from Alex, an invitation to the cafe tomorrow to discuss team plans. Her heart flipped as excitement coursed through her again, but doubts began creeping back. Could she really balance it all? As she stared at the necklace resting in her palm, Sarah felt both the thrill and the weight of new beginnings. With her mind racing and her heart in constant conflict, Sarah knew one thing for sure: the next day would be pivotal. What if a simple meeting at a cafe could change everything? As dawn broke, soft light trickled through Sarah's kitchen window, casting warm shadows across her countertops. She sat at the table, the necklace still glinting in her hand, her thoughts a turbulent ocean of hope and fear. The cafe meeting loomed ahead like an approaching storm, equally thrilling and daunting. Deep breaths. She had every intention of being composed when she walked through that cafe door. She had to be. Setting down the necklace, she poured herself a cup of coffee, relishing the rich aroma that filled the air. A moment of normality before diving into other possibilities. Almost like a ritual, she took her time sipping, pretending it was just another day. But there was an undeniable pulse of excitement. With each tick of the clock, doubt crept in like a thief. Was she really ready for this? What if she misread Alex's intentions? They had shared laughs, stolen glances, and a connection deeper than mere workplace camaraderie, but should she take the leap? Her phone buzzed again, this time a silent reminder of the timing. It was almost time to leave. As she dressed, she selected a simple, yet elegant blouse, a bit of something that would make her feel grounded. She smiled at her reflection, knowing she needed the confidence boost. A touch of lipstick, a spritz of her favorite perfume, and she was ready, or at least, she hoped so. The drive felt longer than usual. The streets flashed by, but Sarah's mind was elsewhere, lost in a swirl of possibilities. What would Alex say? More importantly, what would she say? Was she fully prepared to embrace this new part of her life? Arriving outside the cafe, she took a moment, breathing deeply and mentally preparing herself. The place was bustling, vibrant, full of chatter and laughter. She could almost sense the energy shifting as she pushed the door open, the little bell above tinkling a welcoming note. She spotted Alex almost instantly, seated at their usual table in the corner, a warm smile breaking across his face as their eyes met. Her heart raced, fluttering with equal parts nervousness and anticipation. He looked incredible this morning, casual yet polished, radiating a kind of ease that drew her in. "Hey!" he called, standing as she approached, his enthusiasm infectious. "Hi," she replied, her voice a bit softer than she intended. She joined him at the table, her stomach swirling with what felt like 1,000 butterflies. Alex's gaze was appreciative as he gestured to a cup of coffee waiting for her. I hoped you'd come. I was really looking forward to this. The door opened behind her, and a gust of wind swept in, carrying the scent of fresh pastries. Sarah found herself distracted for a moment, watching the life bustling outside. She felt the pull of hope battling with the strings of apprehension tightening in her chest. Sarah? Are you okay? Alex's voice snapped her back. Concern flickered across his face, and she realized how long she had been silent. Yeah, I'm just trying to gather my thoughts, she admitted, the words slipping out. This feels different. He reached out, his fingers brushing against hers with warmth. Different can be good. Right? It was that simple question that flicked on a light inside her. Was it possible to step into the unknown without letting fear dictate her choices? At that moment, the clutter of her thoughts began to focus. She could feel the tension melting away under his gaze. Before she could respond, the cafe door swung open again, and a tall figure stepped inside, casting a shadow that momentarily darkened their bright corner table. Sarah's breath hitched in her throat as the striking woman approached Alex, her expression an unsettling mix of familiarity and authority. Alex! There you are! The woman exclaimed, her voice ringing like a bell through the noise of the cafe. I was hoping to catch you. Sarah glanced between them, bewildered. This wasn't just a colleague, there was an undeniable closeness in their exchange. With a flood of uncertainty rushing back, Sarah felt her heart plummet. What did this mean for their conversation? For her chance at something new? Frozen, Sarah could only watch as the woman leaned in closer, whispering something in Alex's ear. She had to know who this was, what this meant for them. But before she could say a word, Alex's expression changed as he turned back to her, eyes wide with surprise. Oh, Sarah. I want you to meet someone important, he said, excitement lacing his voice. As the dark shadow loomed over their moment, Sarah felt the sudden chill of the unknown sliding back in. Would this change everything? Was she ready to face whatever came next? With uncertainty buzzing in the air around her, Sarah braced herself for what was to come. What if this unexpected turn could lead down an entirely different path? Hey, everyone. Sorry for interrupting, Alex said as he introduced the woman beside him. This is Clara, the head of our new community partnerships program. A mix of confusion and curiosity washed over Sarah as she took Clara in, a poised woman with striking confidence. She offered a firm handshake, her demeanor radiating authority. So wonderful to meet you, Sarah. Alex has told me so much about you and your ideas. Sarah's heart raced, unsure how to respond. Nice to meet you, she managed, forcing a smile. The moment felt charged, like standing on the precipice of something big. Clara went on, eyes gleaming with ambition. We're excited about the community initiative and would love to incorporate more local voices in the planning stages. Your experience seems invaluable. Joy mixed with uncertainty bubbled in Sarah. It was what she had always wanted, collaboration, a chance to contribute meaningfully. But the specter of potential competition with Alex lingered. Did this mean she'd have to navigate a partnership between Clara and Alex? Would their relationship bear up under this professional pressure? I'd love to contribute, Sarah said, her voice steadier now. I have some ideas that might help bridge our resources to the community. Perfect. Clara said with enthusiasm. The excitement in her voice radiated energy around the table, drawing Alex in as he nodded in agreement. Later, Sarah sat there listening intently as the three of them discussed upcoming projects. Clara's passion for her work was infectious. Connected ideas floated among them like shooting stars. Even Sarah found confidence in contributing her thoughts, defining her newfound purpose. But as the conversation progressed, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of looming risk with the exhilarating partnership forming across the table. What if Clara didn't understand the depth of her connection with Alex? Would everything she and Alex built be overshadowed by this professional relationship? In the excitement of shared goals, Sarah noticed as Clara often turned to Alex for affirmation, seeking his input more than she did Sarah's. It fueled the little flicker of insecurity in Sarah's heart. As they wrapped up, Alex turned to her, that familiar warmth sparking between them. "See? You're already part of something significant. I knew you could do it." "Thank you," she replied, and underneath the surface, the unquoted but hung in the air. The fear of losing this moment loomed large, but she also felt exhilaration rising, igniting something deeper. As they exited the cafe, Sarah glanced at Alex, the sunlight catching his features. "You were brilliant in there." "Clara seems amazing," she said, softening her tone. "Yeah, she really is," Alex acknowledged. "But you outshone everything. I love your vision and drive. Just remember you were the heart of that meeting." "What happens now?" she asked, her heart leaping as apprehension twisted in her gut. "Is this where I get sucked into the corporate world with Clara leading the charge? What does that mean for us?" "I want you to know that you're not just a checkbox on this project for me," he said, stepping closer, his voice low and genuine. "Whatever this is for Clara, it's different for us. We can create this balance." His eyes held a sincerity that calmed her racing thoughts. With each moment they spent together, the barriers of the unknown chipped away, revealing a path she had only begun to imagine. "Together," he said, his gaze unwavering, "I know we can navigate this, but let us promise to be honest if things feel off." Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words resonate within her. Maybe they could make this work. "I promise," she said. "Let us prioritize communication. And let us not let Clara or anyone else steer this." As they walked side by side under the golden sun, Sarah felt courage mounting inside her. They were more than colleagues, they had formed a resilient bond, one that could pave the way for their shared future. That evening back at home, while settling the kids into bed, Sarah fingered the necklace Rebecca had gifted her. She realized it was more than a charm, it was a symbol of hope, representing not just encouragement, but the love she had begun to nurture. The thrill of what they were creating together rushed through her, and despite the unpredictability, the idea of building something real gave her strength. As she tucked her children in, smiles creased their faces. She could mold their world, she could step forward boldly, carrying them and Alex along. Tomorrow would bring its challenges, she knew that well, but it now felt like an adventure worth embracing. As she snuggled into bed, she felt light, ready for whatever came next. Life was undoubtedly complex, but with love, determination, and a spirit open to possibility, they might navigate through this uncharted territory together. They were both ready to leap toward their hopes, forging a path painted with connection, strength, and the shared dreams of a better future. Now, do you feel inspired? This is the perfect time to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm, it's crucial. We want to hear your reactions, so comment below and share your feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformational journey. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.